Angelo Acerbi for Fred Film Radio for the 42nd Torino Film Festival, here with Billy Zane for Waltzing with Brando. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, your film is the perfect film to close this festival because a festival that was dedicated to Marlon Brando needed a movie like yours to close it. And it's a very surprising movie in the sense that we get a complete, at least I did get a completely different angle on Marlon Brando, the icon, because, we know him like a very kind of moody, difficult, while in your film is completely not. So what was it attracted to you to this movie, and why did you choose to make it? Because you're also the producer of it.
Thank you for asking. Initially, to your point, to reclaim the legacy for something other than tabloid trauma and drama and behavior that was perhaps recorded by those seemingly offended rather than the offender. Often no good deed goes unpunished, as we know. So so wanting to tell the story of this man's passion, doing rather than a cradle to grave biopic, which I don't think ever really works. Mm-hmm. You can never tell a life through a series of milestones that happen, but a concentrated 5-year period when he was perhaps his happiest was really interesting to us. But more so, the ability to really shine a light on his foresight into climate change and pending crisis was fascinating. It was just a great lens on this existential crisis facing us all. So this was the reason to make the movie, and also the irony of shining a light or recreating these, most iconic moments in his film history, certainly, and I think many of ours, with the peripheral backstory that they were purely functional to pay for exactly. All of this extraordinarily expensive forward-thinking research and development. Yeah. Is no one ever knew, and this was fascinating.
No, exactly. Well, it was really surprising to know there was like one of the first eco activists in Hollywood, at least, and the tone of the film is really good and fun because it's light, much lighter than what we all thought. Because a movie about Brando could be kind of intense.
You would think,
and it's. You were just telling something about the recreation of the key moments of his career that could have been a kind of a challenge to make, right?
Incredibly.
But it was really surprising. I mean, in The Godfather, you are him. It was it's impossible to tell the difference.
Thank you. We were painstaking to do so because what surrounded it was so loose and funny that those had to be done meticulously. Frame by frame, behavior. We were working with all the references and all of the interviews as well. The Dick Cavett and the Carson interviews were, as meticulously recreated as we could do them in order to have the liberty to be, absurdist nearly at times and as free as he was in what in the periphery, in the wings of these. And it's nice to serve up a sacred cow every now and again for for audiences, and then shatter certain illusions, if not maybe elevate it, not really shatter, perhaps just give a loving, a further perspective. I'd like to think they're further elevated because
you're totally right.
Undermined,
You're totally right, because the feeling that we get after the film about him, about Brando, is completely different now. We have like a backside to his life, another look, another point of view that it was not exactly what we were expecting. I mean, your movie shows that he was still kind of complicated and a weird guy, but in a good way, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
This is exactly
He was eccentric
was a very eccentric,
and
yeah.
mercurial and fickle and funny and a trickster and a practical joker. And, you know, we spent a lot of time speaking to people who knew him very well and his children, you know. We were arriving at a consistent kind of point of view. And it was just simply to create a love letter, not just to him as an activist who walked the walk for civil rights, indigenous rights, and the little known environmental, you know, but also shine a light and create a love letter to the place that I think really influenced those decisions and his worldview, which was the beauty of Tahiti and the people, the simplicity. He was so comfortable to be able to, you know, live and be left alone and be inclusive, included, not to be necessarily isolated, but just to reclaim levels of his anonymity and actually allow his innate curiosity in the human condition and in the natural world to go unaffected or uninterrupted by a request for an autograph. You know,
Yeah.
It was important to him, and I understand why he wanted to live there. I'm completely smitten with the place, and
I can imagine.
And
Wow.
I can't wait to return. I'm literally like going, okay, I get it. It's embarrassing.
You're gonna follow Brando's steps.
Yeah. And you will find me there, no question. You know, the island of Moorea in particular was just like great food too. My God.
And what you just said about him being so inside, so committed to this place and to his and to the world through this place was really something that was very new, and that gave all his very known activism a different light, because it was not just him being difficult with Hollywood. He had the purposes. He had a plan. That this is what your movie shows us, which is really important actually to get the real picture.
Yeah, to create a space where great minds can gather, to address the great challenges facing us, right? And then the inevitably very human reality, like I also need to put a hotel here because
I need some money to do that.
Can't really pay for this utopian dream. Those very very humorous and very humbling approaches. Same way with this bromance between him and Bernard. Great. It's a love story. Great friendship, but even though it's through the lens of Bernard, we were very cognizant of the themes of proximity to genius. I love the fact that you when you get too close to someone, you fancy you are the Brando of architecture, and you're not. And you're going to you go way over your skis, and you're going to crash. The hubris of like, yeah, I could. This is very funny to me and very. It's just very human and charming. That particular frailty.
Yeah.
That
like human and charming as the film is. So.
Well,
thanks a lot.
Thank you. I have to say it. Well, I was really pleased that we delivered on an intention, which was always about. We always wanted to make agreeable cinema. It had can we not have just something that trips along, that doesn't have, a comeuppance in something you can forecast and see from a 3-act structure. Things aren't what they seem, or trauma drama, which pretty much occupies even comedies today. They're so, for the most part, pretty extreme. Other than like kids' movies, I think adult entertainment tends to be, there's always some structurally something that happens that we see coming, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
wade through, and we wait for a resolution. What I love about this film, and I think it's very modern to that extent, was it trips along like a series of pleasantries that doesn't require great traumatic events to to move the story in a way. It's restraint on that issue is what really attracted me to the opportunity as we were crafting it and building it and executing and ultimately delivering it. We held fast to this objective without having to succumb to more traditional devices. And I hope it lands in a way and is refreshing, like a cool drink of water.
Absolutely.
Or a vacation. Like it's, I think we need a movie like this today, personally. I think it's, it's a nice,
thank you very much. Thanks a lot for your film. Thanks a lot for being here with us. Billy Zane, the actor and producer of Waltzing with Brando, with closing night film at the 42nd Torino Film Festival. I'm Angelo Acerbi for Fred, the Festival Insider.